Greetings, YouTube. This is the Garage Autonomist. Man, I am so fucking excited right about now to talk to y'all. I missed you all. Hope you missed me. I'm pretty sure you did. Um, I had an awesome vacation last week. We were on the road. What's up, Pure Butterfly Spirit? Peace. We were on the road last week. We were kind of bouncing between two states. That was Indiana and Ohio because of the two schools that my oldest daughter was looking at. Now, that's not the only reason why. We figured that we would just simply use that opportunity to do a road trip. Uh, I hadn't really gone on a trip with them in a while, uh, you know, so I had to miss out on the Dominican trip. It's kind of sucked. So that was pretty cool. And, you know, it got me to thinking a lot about class, as I'm always thinking about class, right? And it also got me to thinking about the Rust Belt and the Trump election, which, as you know, Indiana and Ohio is part of the Rust Belt. And I was still not completely confused. Uh, Did I just say confused? Ugh, convinced. um, I still was not completely convinced that these were the people who really got Trump in the office. So I have an upcoming video that's going to be talking a little bit about that and the things that we encountered. Now, as you all know, this is an open mic. I'm going to throw the link in the low bar as well, in case anybody wants to join. Give me a second here. Right, there we go. Go away. Fire. There we go. And while we were out there, I remember the funniest thing, and I might bring this into the video, the upcoming video or not. But the funniest thing that happened while we were out there was when we were actually in Indiana. Now, when we were there, our oldest daughter had done was actually, it was not just a school tour, it was also a sleepover. So she stayed overnight, and that left just me, my wife, and our youngest daughter. So we decided to go bowling. And when I guess when when they were telling us the prices of the games, and we just happened to be there during their buy one game get one free night or something like that. And while we were there, we were, they looked at us because we were looking stunned when we were told how much it cost. I think it was like $8 for the game. Ah, I might be off on that, but it was cheap as hell. And they were like, "Well, what's wrong?" And we were like, "It literally cost us $40 to do one game of bowling here in New York City." Now they heard that, and the young man who was helping us at the time at the front desk was like, he was like, it was almost like when O'Shea Duke Jackson, when somebody acts up in his chat room, he goes, "Stop the show." This dude was like, "Stop the show." He was like, "You guys pay," because he kind of had like this little squeaky voice. "You guys pay $40 for a game of bowling in New York?" And then he goes to his boss. "They pay $40 for a game in New York." Then he goes to his general manager. They it was funny, man. He was just like telling everybody, man. It was funny as fuck. And so, and then I was just like, yeah, that was one of the reasons why I was inspired to come up with this next video. So we get on, so we just start playing our games and shit. And then I went at some point, I was like, you know what? I want a beer. So I go over to the bar which is separated from the front desk. I guess he saw me at the bar getting my drink, and he immediately goes over to the bartender and tells her they paid $40 for a game for a boring game in New York City. It was just funny. Anyway, I just wanted to tell y'all that quick story. But shit. That's the poison that we sit here and eat on here. It is what it is. All right, now, let's see here. What am I talking about tonight? I got so much shit to talk to y'all about, man. It's like I was actually not going to post in the title what I wanted to talk about, because it was just so much shit, things that I wanted to do. So one of the things that I'm throwing out here is if anyone has any questions, I've done this before, a Q&A episode, but with a lot of surfing that I was doing, in the car, in the hotel rooms, all that stuff last week, and me actually choosing to be friendly now. I mean, there's a lot of old beefs that I have with people. I want to give a shout out to Case K if he's even listening. But this was one of my old people that I used to like. We used to get into whatever arguments and shit like that, mainly on Big J's channel. But I'm kind of burying these old beefs. I'm actually going to start unblocking some of these people as well. And the only reason why is because it is what it is, man. I didn't think I would see a third year being on YouTube. To be honest with you, I was either thinking I was going to get bored at some point, or wind up just getting terminated, because I really honestly did not think I would ever see 700 now 58 subscribers, right? And I know that's nothing compared to everyone else. And I've always been proud of my little audience. I don't give a shit about how small it is. I'm not here to be a careerist on YouTube. I'm just here to make videos, share ideas. And like I said in my first episode, which I actually took down because I was not happy with the quality of it. But like I said in that episode, is basically I'm just here as an extension of artistic expression, political expression, but that's it. You know what I'm saying? This is not my activism. This is not my main form of activism that I've done in the past. This is not, if anything, it's just an extension of the political writing that I used to do in other spaces that no longer exist. And that's about it. I'm not here to be a careerist or anything like that. So having said that, I honestly didn't think that I would be here this long. And now that I actually feel a sense of purpose here, and I get why people like me and why they come to this channel, I've decided to be about that and not uh, just be on here to be a troll or a left troll, because we don't have enough of them, in my opinion, other than me and some friends of mine in real life who like to get on here and fuck with people. So I mean, well, right wingers and reactionaries and shit. So that's what that's the deal there. So anyway, my point is, all the people that I used to used to wolf at are now people that I'm looking to bury the hatchet on. Some I'm never going to do that, but others, who are like trolls and shit, that's I'm looking to bury the hatchet with them. Not all of them, but some of them. And yeah, so why did I even bring that up? Because I think I was trying to say that right, that's it. So some people on here, I'm finding that they may have a position about a certain other YouTuber, and I'm never going to change their mind about how they feel about certain other YouTubers, but I'm looking at other things about them that I find interesting. There's a young woman named Kara. I think she was now calling herself Kara the Blipster, but then I don't know if it's really true that she just took her channel down or not, but or maybe she deactivated. I don't know. Maybe she has two channels. I'm not sure what happened to Kara, but she doesn't like Sansaray. I'm not, and it's a complicated thing to explain if I'm actually a quote unquote supporter of Sansaray. But I do know that the only thing about Kiara was that she just, she has her opinions about her. But the thing about Kiara is that there's other things that's interesting about her that I like. Now, coming to know Kara, the Blipster, I also came across another channel of a woman hosted by a woman by the name of Danini. And Danini's got a video about camping. So Kara the Blipster talks about technology. Her boyfriend, husband, I think, or fiance, not sure, kind of forgetting that part. Uh, they're in technology. I'm always looking to talk to other Black people in technology. And I immediately had the idea it would be great to have them on as guests so we could talk about technology. We can leave out any other bullshit that we disagree with, but I would love to talk to them about that. So I decided, you know what? I may not agree with them on the idea of more, like as if on the idea of their, I guess, Christian moralism. I don't really want to label them, but I may not agree with them on a lot of different things. I certainly don't agree with them on how they deal with other YouTubers who they have a problem with, or one particular one. But because of that, I'd rather talk to them about the things I do agree with. As long as their uh, behaviors aren't completely damaging to others, right? And Danini has a video about camping. Well, I've been wanting to do a video about Black people, nature, and camping and stuff like that for quite some time. So anyway, let me see here. Right. Sorry, let me just. So that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. So that I decided to just bury the hatchet and beef. So just want to reach out to people to talk to them about things. Yeah. Now, as the title suggests from my previous uh announcement about what I was going to be talking about tonight, I've been re-watching the TV show The Wire. And a lot of people, of course, love the show. It got all kinds of award. Well, I mean, it gets a lot of accolades for for being such a good show, well written show. Uh, and I just want to explain. I normally don't watch cop shows. Can't stand them. Um, Now, when those of us who have a problem with police brutality, or really those of us who actually have a problem with the existence of the police to begin with, because of our ideology, our political uh, work around police brutality, or authoritarianism in general, we we recognize that there's a culture that supports the police. Laws already support them to where the Supreme Court had passed a law back in the late 70s that about the fearing your life clause or whatever it's called. Actually, I had a proper name for it. And because now I can't remember what I actually reported, I'm going to give y'all the link in the low bar when this is done to an old video where I talk about it. And I'm also going to provide the link History of the Police. And I would love, love, love to have mirrored or to repost a poem called Cob Culture by a guy by the name of Hakim Bey. But I hate Hakim Bey because, as discovered by people over the years, And just to give you some background, Hakim Bey is an anarchist poet, but Hakim Bey is a goddamn pedophile. He is a hebephile, and he's, in fact, I believe, a supporter of NAMBLA. I don't roll like that, and I certainly don't roll with motherfuckers like that. So, no Hakim Bey for y'all. And that's good. But he did make a kick-ass poem back in the day. He had a book that was called Taz. And let me see here. What was it? Just try to get the T.az. T.a.t. Yeah. It stood for temporary Bay. T.a.z. It was a book of poems titled Temporary Autonomous Zone, right? And it was a great piece about cop culture. And what is cop culture, really? It's just a show that it's just a show. It's just the part of our society that promotes how great the police are, doesn't talk about how fucked up they are in terms of real life, and and how we get so used to the idea of the happy-go-lucky, fun-loving cop, or there's the cop who takes their job serious because they're out to save the world. And he, like I said, it's a good poem. So I'm just going to tell y'all the name of him, and you can go out and look for it and read it yourself. Unfortunately, I'm just not going to promote him further than that. But he frames the question very well. And that's the reason why I don't like the cop shows. They're just, yeah. But I do have exceptions. And The Wire was one of the first cop shows that I had actually wanted to sit down and look at. And the main reason why was because they did a flip and they said, if we're going to be doing this cops and robbers type show, we're going to actually have and show the robbers, the drug dealers. And we're going to show their lives, who they are, why they do what they do. And yes, there's good guys amongst them. And then, of course, there's the sociopaths. Sorry, the sociopaths. And I thought it was good along that level because you did get the class sort of the class. There's a bit of a class analysis in the show. We know and understand why people get caught up in the drug game. We know that just throwing people in prison doesn't really fix anything. The show was even bold enough, I believe in its fourth season, right? No, the fifth. In its fifth season, when Commander Bunny Covington decided to legalize drugs within a few square blocks of the area that he managed. Because you know how it is. Ranking officers are really just managers like any other corporation. And so, if they weren't supposed to turn around the number of arrests or doing something, they would have to answer for it in some big way. And Bunny Covington basically legalized drugs within a certain blocks of his of the neighborhood, and he did it for quite. What's up, Elm City? And he did it for quite some time. And I thought that was one of the most bravest pieces of television to come along, especially when it comes to fucking cops, a cop show, because they actually said, look, man, you can build all the prisons you want, which of course people want to, because that's now a lucrative business since it's no longer the business of the government to run prisons. Uh, there was a great story. We listened to a really good piece, and I believe it was NPR that talked about. It gave us but it was a Mother Jones writer who went undercover as a CO at one of these new corporate private prisons. And the story was horrible, like what we were hearing, because people hear private prisons, they hear corporate owned private business, prisons, and they're like basically thinking these are going to be nice, clean, you know, prisons where the walls are all white and the bars are fucking plastic or some shit, and they're going to be better than tax run, a rundown old federal or state prisons, and nothing could come closer to the like. This is this shit was hell what we were listening to. First of all, you had CEOs getting paid like $10. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. The point here is that you can build as many of these private prisons as you want to, or do whatever you'd like. The point is that that's never going to get drugs off the street. It's never going to get drug dealers off the street. All you're talking about is what they kind of did here in New York was they basically warehoused as many people as they could on even the smallest of drug charges, just to get people off the street for like the next 10, 15 years. But what you're really doing is just opening up the drug trade for the next generation, and they're just going to be younger. You know, it's ass backwards is basically what's going on there. So that's what they were trying to convey in that season of The Wire. Now, another good thing that I thought was really good about this show is they showed more corruption in the police force and amongst, of course, the politicians than you actually saw the so-called corruption of the streets. Like in some point, the new bad guy of the show at towards the end of the season, which would be Marlo Stansfield, he literally was making it quote unquote to the top, of course, through his attorney, this evil shystery bastard whose name I can't remember right now, but he was getting introduced to politicians, and all because they knew that if, as explained to him, look, you grease these people's hands, you don't have to worry about the cops fucking with you that much. Believe me. Um, and then of course, that's something that the white organized criminals of the going all the way back to the Mustache Pete's of New York. Uh, even they were doing that sort of thing. Everybody was doing that. That's how they got away with half of the shit they got away with. You grease politicians. Politicians preside over the police, judges, government, all that shit. You can get away with anything you want. And that's the thing. Marlo Stansfield saw this level of corruption, and actually, it made more sense. The streets made more sense to him. So that's exactly what he did towards the end of the actual series. Second cop show that I've come to like was, of course, True Detective. Now, that's another HBO show if you get a chance to see it. Oh, Jenny. Hey, what's up, Jenny? Damn, I'm sorry. I'm just running my mouth. Um, I saw that you made a video about Sargon. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But anyway, just this show was really good in that it wasn't so much you didn't really give a shit about the case at some point. It was really about the writing, and it was really just about these two detectives. Uh, you have Matthew McConaughey, who played Russ Cole, probably one of the most interesting TV cops to come along. And of course, this is all based on I'm forgetting the author's name. Hold on here. Um, yeah, Nick Pizzolatto. That's it. So Nick Pizzolatto was the writer of the series in general. What's up, Phoenix? Yeah, Jenny. And everybody hated season two. I'm actually going to rewatch season two probably in another week, in about another month or so when I'm done with The Wire because I want to give it a second chance. I actually try to hang in there for like the first four episodes or something like that, but then other things were going on, and then I just forgot about it. So I need to go back and believe me, if I lose focus on trying to catch up on a TV show, which is hellishly busy as my life can be, um, then I can guarantee you that I probably was falling out of interest. But I think that I was listening way too much to other people and what they thought about the show, and I want to rewatch it again. But the first season, come on. Jenny Kiss says, just we watched The Wire with Papa. What's up, Papa Ape? Yes. Oh man. I need to get you guys. You know what I'm thinking? I think we should do like a hangout if the three of y'all are well, technically it is the three of you, right? If if the two of you guys or the three of you guys wanna join in, maybe we'll do something like that later in the month or so. But what I was saying is that Russ Cole was interesting because one, he was not bullshitting himself as a cop. He did not. He. I remember that there was a scene where he actually went to go buy drugs from a prostitute, and and I think she asked something like, "Are you dangerous?" And he says, "Of course I'm dangerous. I'm a cop. We can do all kinds of things with impunity." Like you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it was amazing. That was amazing writing. But Russ was like this sort of philosophical, this dark philosopher with a badge. It was just awesome. And it wasn't like that sort of stereotypical hard edged cop type of thing. He wasn't like that at all. Like, he basically knew that he had nothing else going on in his life and that the only thing there was for him to do was to solve cases. Um, but at the same time, his mind would kind of wander. He was also suffering from that's it. He can kill someone with impunity. That's it. That's what he said. Thanks, Jenny. And he understood it. And then there was, of course, the complete playoff with Woody Harrelson's character. Uh, oh fuck, I'm forgetting his name already. But the thing about him that was interesting was that he was far more damaged than Russ. If anybody actually had their shit together, as damaged as they were, it was Russ. And his partner, the Woody Harrelson character, was just all over the fucking place. He had no focus. He was fucking around on his wife. He was prone to violence. He was actually all the things that is typically fucked up about most cops anyway. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. It's like I'm very well aware that because what you typically have on regular television, right, is the super cops that have no feelings, no emotions. They are all about the job, but that's supposed to be cute about them. So if they can't get a date, or or they've been divorced 4 or 5 times, we're supposed to think that's awesome because what they're really out doing is solving crimes and protecting us. One, of course, the biggest myth of most police, because that shit ain't real. And I have a bit. Did True Detective have Matthew McConaughey? Yes, Phoenix. Um, that was the first season, and both Woody Harrelson and Matthew uh, were also producers of the show. I think Matthew was actually the producer. Well, Woody, I think, was executive producer. Either way, it didn't matter. They basically fronted up the money to get that show going. And of course, the payoff would be that they would play one of the two best roles to play. on that show. So yeah. So what you get on like network television is all these cops. Like I said, they're the super cops. We're supposed to forgive their quirkiness for just wanting to care about their jobs, but that shit to me is just not real. And I almost believe that they started pumping these shows out at full force after 9/11, because I think that, and again, this is just a theory. This is not, I'm not speaking this is true. It's just a theory of mine, because I think that they felt that, hey, if people begin to question what good is government, what good is law enforcement, if we can't be protected by people flying planes into the towers, or we're seeing a mounting problem with drugs and opioids and everything getting spread around, why do we have the police? Why do we have the army? Why do we have the military? What's the purpose? What's the point? These people aren't protecting us, right? And I feel like these TV shows are putting out a form of propaganda to say, no, man, we solve crime. We can figure out who came into your house, killed your wife, and ate your breakfast and walked out because of we took the saliva from the fucking egg sandwich that she was trying to make for herself, and we like, and then we found the criminal in 5 days, and end of case. And that is not what happens in real life, man. I mean, it just isn't. Why do you think cops have an easier time? And the Wire actually points this out. And matter of fact, season one, they point this out. Why do you think cops fuck with unarmed citizens? Why do you think cops, when they actually want to quote unquote do their jobs, it's always Pookie and Ray Ray on the fucking corner? I tell you why. Because those are the easy busts. Because killing people with no guns who are no threat, that's an easy thing to do. But fucking with people who are criminals that are smarter than you, fucking with criminals who actually have politicians in their pocket, cops don't touch those people. They never do, and they never fucking will. So then you got to ask yourself this question: what good are they? But the super cop on network television, oh man, he's all about it, right? He's gonna take down corruption. He's gonna save your daughter from overdose. He's gonna blah blah blah. Y'all remember Beretta? I'm old enough to aging myself, dating myself. But there was a TV show called Beretta. He was the first super cop, and he was the one with heart. He was rough. He was tough. But he had a little pet cockatoo. I think that's the name of the bird, the cockatoo. Jenny could help me out with that. And but he knew how to go undercover. He knew how to talk slang. He would hug his drug addict people, people that he was trying to save from becoming drug addicts. I mean, he was all that shit. Uh, Barney Miller was a good show. I like that one, but I don't look at that as a cop show. But it was just a bunch of goof offs who happen to be cops. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that subject matter. Now, hold on. Let me see what's going on in the chat, because y'all really make the fucking show, not me. GA Phoenix says, GA, if the shows are a firm form of propaganda, who's making those kinds of conscious decisions? I mean, are you asserting that media is a purposeful control mechanism? Ha ha. And then Jenny laughs. And then Phoenix says, GA, don't roll the dice if you can't pay the price. Don't do it. Hey, man, Phoenix, my friend, that fucking theme song was the best theme song ever. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Oh man. As a matter of fact, I woke up one morning. It was a Friday morning, because that's the only time when I wake up feeling happy enough to start singing. Yeah, I woke up what was that 3 Fridays ago singing the Beretta song. That song was kick ass. Phoenix says yes, sir. But no, do I think that there's an actual conscious decision? Like I said, it's just a theory. No, I don't think it's necessarily a backroom deal or anything. I just think that the creators of these shows are kind of sitting there thinking to themselves, or maybe it's more like them. Maybe they feel panicked. You know what I'm saying? Like they feel that because shit is going on, mounting drug, mounting drug sales in the streets, and that never seem to go away, or uh, terrorists, because the super cop, of course, is also part of federal government, and they're out to get all the terrorists, and they always get their man. These fucking dumbass shows. Ugh, I hate them. But nobody got their man in 9/11, did they? Not really. The men killed themselves, and he got away with it, and they weren't stopped. But anyway, oh, Phoenix says, "Do you know that Beretta wrote that song?" Yes, the writers are often not even blue collar, but Harvard grads. Exactly, Phoenix. Um, so yeah, I think that rear echelon paranoia of people who are Harvard grads would write some shit like that. Yeah, would write propaganda. No, they don't have to talk to any government officials. Where they're commissioning the writers to go out and make FBI, NSA, CIA, and your local cop to look good by making shining, wonderful shows about them. No, 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 no. I believe that it's that the propaganda is written by rear echelon paranoia Harvard grads. Jenny says, I never looked at 9/11 that way. So true. Thank you, Jenny. So anyway, everybody, Jenny recently had posted a video. I didn't even have a chance to see it, talking about Sargon of Akkad possibly lost his channel. Now, if that's true, I'm gonna briefly celebrate because I'm gonna look that up in a little bit and see what other people are thinking. But you know the deal. And this even applies to us. We don't die in YouTube. We just simply multiply. Okay. You lose a channel, you come right back. You make 5 other channels along with it so that you will never die a death. It just doesn't happen. I mean, unless you literally have murdered someone on YouTube and you go to jail where you have no internet access, that's the only way you will ever go away on YouTube. That's just the truth, man. So who knows what's going to happen to Sargon? If he lost his channel, that motherfucker will be back in a week. And, he'll pull out his credit card, buy his first 5,000 subscribers from whatever CEO he bought the first 5,000 subscribers from. And he'll be right back up again, lying, talking shit, his little pudgy little mouth working. Yeah, he'll be doing that. He'll be back, unfortunately. Because I mean, come on, man. What else does that man have? He has no skills. He has no marketable skills. He's not in the workforce. That motherfucker has no way of making a living. You know what I'm saying? Unless, of course, he relies on his parents. Because if rumors are true, he comes from a wealthy family, right? That motherfucker ain't got to be worried about shit. He'll be on here on YouTube playing again, up and down the YouTube streets. Jenny says, that's true. He has like 10 channels and he got it back up. Oh, okay. So he did get his channel back up. And that's another thing. See, YouTube will work with you. If you're a big YouTuber and you quote unquote lose your channel, they'll work with you. I've noticed that. They might let you sweat for about a week or so, and then they'll be like, okay, well, we've decided that upon blah, 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 because you're making money for them. I mean, if he's making money, unfortunately, I don't watch his channel. I just don't have it in me. I don't look at Tommy Sotomayor's channel. I don't look at Sargon's. I don't do that. So I don't know if he's even monetized. Phoenix says, Jenny, Eye on the Sparrow. Oh, right. That was Sammy Davis Jr. who sung it. Oh, do I have links blocked? You know what? I thought I had fixed that a while back. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix that right now. No? Okay. I'm probably gonna have to go back in my settings and do that after I'm done tonight. Sorry about that, Phoenix. Oh, wait, can I? Let me see. Maybe I can. allow you to maybe you know what, Phoenix? I just made you a moderator. So maybe if you can now try it. Try to post the link. Because I believe if you make someone a moderator, they can post links. So just try it. If that doesn't work, then I'm gonna have to go into settings after I'm done here. There you go. There you go, Phoenix. So you know what? Why don't I do this too? I'm just gonna add all my supporters and just make them moderators just in case. So all right. Make Jenny a moderator, Mama Jenny a moderator. And I already know I made them City a moderator. And I'm just going to make Pure Butterfly Spirit a moderator. How about that? All right. Now, I think that's enough I got to say about the cop shows, man. It's pretty obvious. I love The Wire. It's a kick-ass show. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. You know what I am going to do before I actually stop talking about cop shows and The Wire? One thing. I remember how everyone hated season 2. But my feeling was season 2, if it wasn't the best season, I wouldn't say it was the best season, but season 2 to me was far more the most important season out of the entire series run. And the reason why I think that is because everyone harped on it was kind of boring. It wasn't really dealing with the street stuff, yada, yada, yada. The thing is that if you don't understand how the current global face of organized crime operates right now, if you don't understand how women, first of all, literally being shipped across the ocean like African slaves were to be prostitutes, which is slavery, right? In America, and how the money and profit is made off of that. And then that some of those profits are then used to purchase drugs and to also bring drugs into the into the country, and therefore the drugs making its way into the fucking hood, then you'll never get it. You know what I'm saying? And it was good to me because I think like a lot of people who may have actually been in the game in real life, in the drug dealing game in real life, but they like watching the show. I think that a lot of them needed to see that. They needed to understand that they're like the fucking pawns, man. They're like so low on the goddamn totem pole in this situation that hold on, that they really just need to see their place in all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? And if you haven't been caught, you haven't been arrested, try to just get out of that life, man, and save the money, buy a legitimate business. Like basically, if anybody was the role model for what to actually try to do, it was Stringer Bell. But if Stringer Bell, hey, if Stringer Bell wasn't such a fucking douche, where he ultimately wound up getting fucking killed, he probably would have actually got his ass out of that shit. I mean, he was already fucking with politicians and contractors and all that stuff. The man really was way smarter than Avon. But again, he was just a fucking douchebag. Phoenix, I did not get a chance to see Mark Blythe. I wanted to. We had talked about all that, and I did not get a chance to do it, but I will, I promise you. I will look at the Mark Blythe video. Now, Jenny Kiss says, I recently saw that Richard Pryor had a relationship with John Voight. Really? I'm not shocked at that. Phoenix says, I'm so happy to be in a chat with Jenny. All right. Oh, she meant Brando. Okay. I was thinking, wow, was that in addition to Brando? I knew about Brando. Yeah. And everybody's mad at Quincy Jones because he's basically telling everybody all this shit. I personally don't understand why he's doing it and why he's doing it now. I think he's probably gonna die soon, and he just feels like this will be his last. Hey, Force 100, but what is up, man? I am so glad you're here. You know what? You know what I'm about to do, Force? Katrang. Now you have a wrench. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm gonna check out the video, Phoenix. But yeah, okay. So I don't think John Voight, but Brando. Yeah, yeah, but I'm not surprised by that. I think you know what? Who was it? I think it was Ann X when she came to visit in my last live stream. We talked about this. We touched on this a little bit, and I remember saying how Richard Pryor, and if you ever read his book, Pryor Convictions. Oh no, 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 no! It was Olivia R. I was in Olivia R's chat room because she was talking about the wrench is just simply force. I wanted to give it to you. That's all. Um, you've been a solid supporter of this channel, and hold on here. Yeah. And that's just all it is. But anyway, it's just my appreciation for the people who come out and listen to me and who've been a supporter of this channel. Anyway, but I was in Olivia R's chat room, right? And she was talking about the whole, Marlon Brando, Richard Pryor thing. And I remember telling her in her chat room that Richard Pryor's biography titled Pryor Convictions, right? If you read it, he talks about how he was sexually molested as a kid by another older, bigger kid. And that years later, when he came to visit Peoria, or was it Port? I think he was from Portland. I know I might be getting Mudbone's character mixed up with Peoria, Illinois. I forgot which. I think he was from either. I think Richard Pryor was either from Oregon or he was from Peoria. Y'all, I'm gonna have to go back on that. But what he wrote in the biography was that he was molested by an older, bigger kid, right? And then he went back to his hometown to visit, at some event, and he was signing autographs. And someone came up to him to ask for his autograph, and it turned out to be his molester. And I can't help but wonder if Richard was thinking that he, quote unquote, was bisexual or whatever, simply because of what happened to him. Because, of course, that's not what turns you into a bisexual person. That's not what turns you gay, is if you're assaulted. But I wonder if that's what he thought. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Maybe, or maybe he really was. You never know. But yeah, I was kind of shocked to even hear that shit. That Richard Brando. I wasn't shocked that Richard Pryor possibly. Did I just say Richard Brando? I meant Marlon. Um, I'm not shocked that Richard, was into, had sex with other men. I was just shocked it was Marlon Brando of all fucking people. Because let's face it, Brando was a fucking mess by the mid 70s. um, I shouldn't be petty like that or superficial like that. But come on, the man looked like Uncle Fester by the mid 70s. Phoenix says, Jenny, right? I gave Hornet's Nest a real kick today and Buzz, they all came after me. I think the thing Phoenix is talking about trolls. I don't know. Jenny says, I know the Godfather. I don't blame either of them for jumping each other. Brandy was hot. And Force 100 says people are born gay. Wow. Wow, Force. Okay, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I think I'm going to throw the hypergamy issue onto another stream. And not make you guys wait for Thursday. I'm going to talk about that shit. May do a show later on this weekend because I can't believe it's already 11:23, and I was really strict, and I'm really strict on making sure that I get off of here at the exact time that I want to get off, which is 11:30. So I'm probably gonna fuck it. You know what? I'll stay up till midnight. Here's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, Jenny, what's hypergamy? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna talk about it. Fuck it. You all know that the MRAs, right? The entire manosphere has been talking about this shit forever. Well, first of all, y'all know I don't believe in this alpha male shit. I don't believe in beta male shit. And I most certainly don't believe in hypergamy, quote unquote, because hypergamy applies to birds or it applies to other species in the animal kingdom. So the idea of course, is that the female bird or the female animal wants to feather her nest. It's within her interest to feather her nest, so to speak, with a male mate who will be strong and will provide her with the nest in which she can live in. And she will pick a mate who can offer the better or the bigger nest, so on and so forth. Now, what the MRAs and what the Manospherians love to do is to take that theory, to take this theory, but it's not even theory, it's real science, but applied to animals, though, to take this bit of scientific fact as it exists amongst the animal kingdom and say it exists with human beings, particularly the human female. And what they're trying to say is that women, by nature, are hypergamous. They're looking for the man as the mate who will uh, prov- allow himself to be a resource for her to be taken care of, right? Thank you, Phoenix. Yes, it applies to fucking birds. Because the way I see it, women have been socially conditioned to not present day, but in the past, right? We're socially conditioned to seek men out or to just allow a man to come and basically get them or pay for them. We all know, and for matrimony, we all know that in our society, the bride price, right, is what was used in order to get a woman in your marriage or in to get her as a married person. We also know that when it comes to women who've been prostituted, it's also a mere transaction, so to speak. Hypergamy, as I see it, has an anthropological root connecting to what was called the bride price. Now, I just need to say this as an aside. It is a common mistake to use the term dowry for the term bride price. When people say dowry to describe a groom paying the family, or we should say, really, the bride's patriarch or father, a price for matrimony, what they are really talking about is the bride price. The dowry is the family wealth that the bride brings to feather the nest, so to speak, but it solely goes to the groom's hands, or rather patriarch to patriarch. So sorry for the aside, but I'm a stickler for shit like that. Anyway, so you have two men in a situation of marriage in early human society exchanging wealth and the bride is only property. Now, if we fast forward a bit in our current to our current to contemporary to our contemporary period, where there may have been some changes. So, in other words, there is no more dowry. There is no more bride price, but the bride price has definitely left a bit of a an imprint. In other words, men are still were before the sexual revolution and before the second wave of feminism. Men were basically the dominant part of the workforce. Therefore, they had the money, and really up until the 20th century, women weren't even allowed to have their own property. So the idea of them having their own assets or being able to have a career and work and all that shit was very slim. I mean, unless of course you count black women. Black women were always part of the workforce since black people got here to to these shores. That's a whole separate other video really altogether. But my point here is that women in general, okay, were in a situation where they would be asked out if they were not married. Okay, they had to depend, of course, on the mercy of their own blood relatives to be able to live. Again, up until the 20th century. So the whole idea of the MRAs and what they say about quote unquote hypergamy is that women are looking for men as a resource. No. What a lot of you motherfuckers did was hook up with chicks that didn't give a shit about you. They saw you for a mark, possibly a mile away. And I hate to say it, but if I were to ask you, how did this woman look? If this actually happened in your life, how the fuck did she look? Was she average looking? Was she quote unquote average? Because I don't, go by, whatever mainstream standard of beauty bullshit. But what would she look like? Because I can guarantee you that if you were willing to give some woman a bunch of money, she was with you. Well, first of all, assuming that you were even making money, right? I mean, a lot of you fucking bums, we'll get to you later, but a lot of you motherfuckers do not have money. I mean, when you look at all these dudes, like, what's that guy? Not Mark. Osprey, is that his name? One of the old MRA guys that writes a lot. You look at these guys, they ain't got no fucking money. But anyway, they're gonna whine about hypergamy. Anyway, but if if I can guarantee you, you guys wanted these women's beauty, you wanted their bodies, and they were probably a lot more smarter than you about this, and they probably used you. Now, I'm not a fan of anyone getting into a relationship with anyone else for false pretenses, but let's face it. If you're sitting up here hooking up with somebody because of her face or her looks, but she's hooking up with you because of what you can provide in terms of money, you deserve to get done. You deserve to get got. Sorry, it's just the truth. Because you're hooking up with her under false pretenses as much as she's hooking up with you for the same thing. So, you deserve it. Let me see what everybody's saying. Phoenix says, preach GA, you're hitting home runs. I just want to see if anybody else said it. Yeah, let me just go up here. So let me put it to you this way. The hypergamy that you guys imagine, that shit was actually within men's favor in the olden days before second wave feminism came and changed society and made sure that things like gender discrimination at the workplace and women getting paid equal, and in other words, making sure that women had fucking options, right? Other than just you're not going to have a life unless you get married kind of bullshit. Before those times, hypergamy, as you guys want to imagine it, was actually simply called the way things were. It was simply called the way man world worked. Okay. And that's the deal. Okay. So it worked in your favor at the time. It wasn't called hypergamy then. You weren't complaining back then because she was forced to deal with you if she had no other options. Okay. Now that shit is different. Now we're supposed to be in a sexual revolution, supposedly, but I don't have, it is what it is. But the point is that we're supposed to be equal, right? And now we're supposed to be able to get together and get married for the real fucking reasons of getting together and get married. Because this is somebody who you don't mind with their funky, stinky ass breath in the morning, and you want to see them every day until you're both two wrinkly old pieces of leather, right? That's what marriage is supposed to fucking be. Through the bullshit, through the whatever. See, that's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be purchasing the hottest chick, and it's not supposed to be about who can take care of me or else I'm going to starve. Like that was what marriage was, and that's what you motherfuckers want again. And you're pissed off because what you're stuck with now is either chicks who don't give a shit about you or women who I shouldn't say chicks, but I do. Or women what did I say? Women who don't give a shit about you because they got options, or women who do, but they're with you for the wrong reasons. And now that's what leads me, the main reason why I'm even talking about all this bullshit. And I'm going to scroll up to look at all of y'all's comments. But that's what leads me to talk about this whole thing. Why am I bringing it all up? Well, once again, Garage watches a lot of TV when I'm procrastinating to do a video, procrastinating on my fucking novel, or procrastinating on anything other than that. Because everything else is work or what's going on here in the house, right? Well, then during the summer, I got hooked on this fucking reality show called 90 Day Fiance. It comes on the Learning Channel, which is already a garbage ass fucking channel, but whatever. If it's still on demand, if you get a chance, you should check it out. But 90 Day Fiance, and I got to say this first before I go into it. Not all the couples are people trying to get married to somebody because they want to get into the US. And it's not all about a bunch of sexist men trying to hook up with beautiful women, their terms of beauty, who are in a desperate situation. Some of these couples, and if you notice, the ones that are actually doing good are the ones who are meeting each other on equal grounds. They just simply met each other online. Uh, you know, uh, the dude, you know, or the woman, whoever, the foreigner's spouse, they got their own shit. They're fine, but they fell in love with an American, and the American has their own shit, and they're fine, and they've fallen in love. I've noticed that the couples that have making it are the ones that are closer in age together. They're the ones that are closer in. I mean, they're both probably young and poor, or young and up and coming in their careers, or whatever, or whatever's going on. Like, in other words, these people, the only struggles they might be having is things like cultural differences. Oh, I didn't know you were Muslim, or some shit like that, or oh, I didn't know you had uh, uh, MS, shit like that. Like that's what they're dealing with. No, I've been hooked on the fucking show because on every season, and I think this show's been on the air for like 5 years now, right? In every season, there's one or two American males who get a Filipino wife or a Latino wife, right? And they know that they're banking on their status as American men because it's no accident that they're going to countries where the women are fucked, basically, okay, like economically. And yes, it should not be a surprise to you, homeboy, that this woman is trying to get the fuck out of poverty. So yeah, she's gonna marry an American male. And if he and I, race shouldn't have anything to do with it, to be honest with you. And in most of the eyes of these women, I don't think race does have anything to do with it. But let's face it, I think they, as soon as they see, America, blue-eyed son type of situation, they're like, that's the fucking ticket. But here's the thing. Don't play innocent, asshole. I'm gonna play the smallest fucking violin for you. Want to know why? Because one, you should see the dudes in the show. One guy, Jorge, right, marries a woman from Russia. Her name was uh God, forget it, doesn't matter. This dude Jorge marries a Russian girl. She thinks she's a model. I personally, whatever. I don't think she's all that. But the point here is that he thinks she's the most beautiful thing ever. I think they definitely they exchanged a lot of emails, whatever's going on. And of course, I don't give a shit. I think people hooking up with each other on the internet is a beautiful thing. It's not the worst thing, it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, you can share as much as yourself about who you are online than you probably could dating 28 strangers in the same city that you see day to day. So yeah, there you go. And they exchanged and stuff. They exchanged all these emails. They met each other. The thing about Jorge was that the first thing that came out of his mouth when asked, why don't you want to marry an American woman? And the thing about these dudes, like I said, it's either one or two guys every season who is in the situation I'm about to talk about. The first thing that comes out of their mouths is they don't like American women because they're quote unquote feminist, which really means women have been rejecting me because I'm either overweight, I'm either short, or I'm just a weirdo. And therefore, I'm going to take everything that I could be fixing about myself or try to be a humble human being. Instead, no, I'm going to find a woman who I know is in economic straits. And hey, she's probably good looking too, because that's how it's going to work out. And little will they know that I am, one, in debt to my eyeballs, because that's what happens in this show. Sorry, spoilers, y'all. But but these dudes, half of these motherfuckers are bums, is my point, man. They're not like in anything that you think. These motherfuckers are not independent businessmen like they lie to these women and say they are. And of course, people are like, well, you know, if she's disappointed that the guy was a bum, that's her fault. Why is she a gold digger? It's like, well, I don't know. Why does he think that the only kind of women that he desires, or the kind of women he desires, he feels like he can go to another fucking country and and he knows she's in desperate straits. She knows that it's a situation when people say, hey, I'm an American, immediately people want to think, of course, depending on the country, hey, you're an American, that means prosperity. That means shit, you probably got it going on. Of course, none of that is true for some of these guys. Of course, none of these other couples, like I said, the ones that are making it, they weren't lying to each other. They weren't literally like trying to say some bullshit like, I own 3 businesses and a yacht, and like these losers were doing. So anyway, so this guy Jorge and it turns out this young woman that he hooked up with, she is a nightmare, granted. But the thing is that Jorge got what he deserved, because he didn't want to deal with American women for what? Because they had a preference. I mean, not all women are going to reject you because you're overweight, dude. Although he never said it, but come on, we're not stupid, Jorge. You knew good and well why you didn't like American women. But the thing is, you were going for certain kinds of American women. You couldn't just humble yourself. Fix your fucking personality. Take a bath every now and then, right? And just simply, get your shit together. Who knows who you could have attracted here? No, man, you wanted the model, right? Well, you got her. Now this woman has made a fool of you. I'm not going to tell y'all the details, but you got to check out the show. She's a nightmare, man. I mean, she was crazy. But hey, like I said, he fucking deserved it. Especially when she found out that he didn't have as much money as he lied to her and said he had. Now, you don't have to tiptoe, sweetie. You're not going to disturb anything. Sorry, y'all. I'm talking to my oldest daughter. Anyway, so then the other couple, and this is the guy that, no, 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 there's two guys that actually enraged me the most. Jorge, I don't hold too much against on him because he's just young, man. But the two guys that really tripped me out the most, oh man, it's disgusting. Let me start with this fucking guy. First of all, this dude looks like if you could imagine the penguin from Batman, but would actually be a little bit taller. That's what this dude. He walks like the penguin. He walks like a penguin. Got a face like a penguin, right? Y'all know I don't talk about people's looks, but that's my point. This motherfucker is 50 something years old. He has a daughter who, if I'm not mistaken, is older than the woman that he's trying to hook up with, but by 3 years. The woman that he's trying to hook up with lives in Thailand, I believe. Okay. He went out there, was already bitching about the amount of money that he paid to get out there, right? Bitching about the amount of money that he paid for her bride price. He did pay a bride price, by the way. He calls it a dowry because he misused the word. He he paid a bride price on which was like some water buffalo. Okay. Now this is Thailand. If I were to live on the salary that I'm making right now in Thailand, if you compare the baht to the US dollar, right? If I were to, if I was single, right? If I was single and I took the current wages that I'm making, but better yet, if I actually went on my pension when I retired, I would be living like fucking Bruce Wayne in Thailand. I'm trying to tell you. Okay. And so immediately you were already suspicious. Why is this man bitching about money for a bride if he knew her culture and knew what was up? He knew that he had to do all this stuff to get this woman, right? Well, it turns out this motherfucker has not worked in 20 something years. His kids have not seen him. Sweet soul brother could talk about this. His kids have not seen him for 20 years. He hasn't worked in 20 years. He hasn't seen his own children in 20 years. His daughter tore him a new one on the show. And I know it's a reality show. Sometimes the shit is scripted. But the anger that I saw coming out of this young woman, it was coming from a real place. And he deserved it. Anyway, the point is that this woman, and she did tell him straight up, man. She told even the guy's daughter, "Yeah, I married your father. I mean, he's not the most good looking man in the world, but he's American. He's gonna marry me, and in 90 days, we're gonna get married as soon as I set foot in the soil because that's the law here. I think they called it it's called the F9. Jenny might be able to let me know. I think it's called the F9 visa, some bullshit. Within 90 days, it's like a shit or get off the pot. Y'all gonna have to get married, kind of thing. and she went on ahead and went with it. Their story is not done, by the way. So I think there's like an upcoming season to show this weirdo. But yeah, the dude's a loser. And you know how he's been living? His best friend, a guy who's actually married to an African American woman, has been floating him money for years, has been giving him little odd jobs at his three businesses that he owns. But yeah, man, he totally lied to this woman, told her, hey, man, I've got businesses, I've been doing this. And then finally, when she gets out here, it's like, whoa, why are we living in your friend's building that he owns? You don't even have your own house. Again, I'm going to repeat. He's 51 years old. He's 400 pounds. He waddles like the penguin, and he fucking looks like the penguin. But again, he couldn't humble himself. He couldn't become a better man. He couldn't be a better father to his kids. He couldn't just work on himself and get somebody who would like him. No, 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 no. He wanted some 27-year-old woman, well, and he figured that, he deserved that. All he had to do was pay for her. Ain't that some shit? Curious. What's up? Oh my God, Curious. I am glad I stayed on late, y'all. Anyway, let me get into these. Let me get into the chat. Oh man, Jenny and Phoenix are in here just acting up. Um, let's see here. Phoenix says, I had to do papers on fucking gammy stuff. Women are biologically built for multiple sex partners, not mono. Sorry, man, babies. Phoenix then makes a scary face icon for Sandman. Yeah, Sandman is a YouTuber who won't shut the fuck up about hypergamy. And the way he'll tell it, he's independent businessman. He's not all like the rest of us losers who work for someone else. He's so independently fiscally independent. I think he does professional photography or some bullshit like that. I think that's what he's about. That's not bullshit. I'm not going to put down the profession. I just think Sandman is full of shit. But anyway, he can't shut the fuck up about hypergamy. That guy, I haven't listened to his video. I haven't listened to any of his damn videos in 2 years. And for a solid year before I did this channel, I was listening to that motherfucker because I was sort of, blown away at the level of how far the manosphere had gotten on YouTube of all places. I knew that there were blogs here and there, between 2008 and then before I got on YouTube myself. But damn, I had no idea that they expanded the way they did on YouTube, man. And so when I was listening to Sandman's bullshit, I was like, holy fuck, this guy's a trip. And with all the wolf tickets these guys speak online, believe me, their real lives in real life is the complete opposite. I wouldn't be surprised if Sandman actually doesn't. If Sandman, I wouldn't be surprised if he lives with his mother. Anyway, he's so full of shit, but he wants to whine about hypergamy. Jetty says Trump is going to take away the gammies. Let's see here. Damn it. I done scrolled up too far. All right. Great line, Jenny. Phoenix says that's right. GA, Jenny, Penguin, talking about me and talking about the penguin. Warble said he drove his wife insane in 3 months and then got mad at me about it. Jenny's laughing. Preach, GA, you're hitting home runs. Thank you, Phoenix. Let's see. Jenny says it's funny. These MRAs had some monies. If these MRAs had some monies, they wouldn't be begging and lying online for money. Thank you, Jenny. That's another thing. All these motherfuckers trying to come off like they're big players. Oh, don't fuck with single mothers. Don't fuck with these broke ass women, blah, blah, blah. And yet they're online begging for money. It's like, motherfucker, we know you don't make money. And the matter of fact, I know that some of the friends, because I'm always accused of having 4 million troll accounts. None of that is true. And I'm also accused of just doxing regular people. No, I don't do that. But friends of mine will look at some of these dudes, especially because some of these friends of mine are black. So it's like we specifically focus on these dudes in the black manosphere, and you find out some of these dudes haven't themselves worked in 10 years. Now, I'm not judging people for not working. My thing is that don't get on here online talking about how other people are broke and talking about women are broke. Don't marry these broke women. Don't fuck with these broke women. Don't fuck with these single moms. All this shit. And you motherfuckers got 2-3 kids of child support that you won't pay, that you refuse to pay, that you're out here online trying to create a movement about how oppressive child support is. Motherfucker, you created kids that need to eat. And there's no reason for them to try to eat off of one salary of one parent. Fuck you. You need to pay. You need to pay child support. That's 2 salaries. All right. It's ridiculous. You know what? Man, if my wife made high uh six figures, I don't give a shit. If she's actually taking care of the kids, or if we're doing split down the middle you know, childcare, right? The point is, my money is still going to go into the house and into the care of my kids, because two salaries are always going to be better with one. Why should they struggle off of one? Give me a fucking break, man. Oh, you guys just pissed me off with that shit on childcare. Shut the fuck up. Um, again, smallest violin. I'm gonna play the smallest violin next time about over child support. Cheap motherfuckers. Anyway, all the MRAs are about impressing other males. That's what Phoenix says. Jenny says, I will read the shit out of that novel. Oh, thank you, Jenny. Phoenix says, I feel for your procrastinating, GA. Oh, Danini, hey, what's up? I'm sorry. I hope you didn't think I was ignoring you. I'm just now catching up on everybody in the chat. Jenny says, hi, Danini. Phoenix says, my name is Phoenix and I procrastinate dramatic music. Uh, Phoenix says, hi, Danini. Um, yep, best to date your peer group. Oh, I didn't know you were Muslim. Haha. Jenny says, I can't tell you how crazy it is. I met Ape. Right. She's talking about Bewildered Ape, her husband. She says he was across the world. We just fit in where we just fit and we're both nice to each other. And that's it, Jenny. That's all the fuck you need for two people to be together, man. You just fit and you're nice to each other. That's it. That's it. Danini says, hello, Phoenix. Phoenix says, girl, those foreign brides exploit the poor fuck sticks. Exactly. Jenny says, that's sad, but it makes sense. Jenny says, Jenny, you two are a love story. Yep, they are. Jenny Kiss and Bewildered Ape. I'm just going to call him Bewildered Ape. I don't know how he wants to be called, so I'm just going to go on Bewildered Ape for now. You know, Phoenix says, I used to watch those Filipinos chicks cheat on their military husbands like crazy. Damn, Phoenix, I didn't know it was like that. Phoenix says GA is on fire. Exactly. They know that they're playing a role in the sex industry. Exactly. Phoenix says, I'm cool with spoilers because I'm not allowed to watch TV. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Jenny, okay. Let's see. All right, so they're all clapping, and then, oh, damn, the penguin. Haha, web fingers. Phoenix Chastain, the curious. Yes, I'm here. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Phoenix. Yep. Curious is here. Okay, I think I'm caught up. I believe I am. Jenny says, Papa Ape says he, Sandman, makes wedding videos. The fucking irony. Exactly. And that's the thing, dude. It's like Phoenix. I'm sorry, not Phoenix. Sandman, motherfucker, if you're so anti-marriage, which is fine, that's the thing. I don't mind people who are anti-marriage if the analysis is, hey, traditional marriage just doesn't work, or marriage, you know, it's a money making scheme. Like, if you're coming at it from that, fine. But you motherfuckers, the MRAs and the MGTOWs have been redefining marriage as a bad thing based on how they saw it, because it was based on their experiences. Man, we all learned about Paul Elam, right? Do I have to remind you all the Paul Elam story? I know I done went off on a tangent again, and I'm away from finishing talking about this damn show. But let me remind you all of Paul Elam. What did Paul Elam tell us when he made his big introduction to the internet to father the MRA movement online? What did he say? He was a hardworking man and his evil cheating wife had sex with his black friend and she got pregnant, and he realized that he had to reevaluate this whole thing of the man working and providing when the wife was cheating, and therefore all the women are cheating, right? That was the story, right? That was his narrative, right? And you all saw the video. I posted in earlier videos. I'm going to repost it again tonight, just as a reminder. BuzzFeed went out as a real journalist organization should. And they went out and they found Paul Elam's daughter, who, as it just turned out, wanted to reunite with her father. Well, her father was not no red boned mulatto. She was a blonde haired, blue eyed lady looking just like Paul, which Paul is no handsome man, but the young lady who is his daughter, she's all right. The point I'm making here is that that woman is his blood, and it was proven in a genetic test, in a DNA test. We also find out in that same article that it was Paul who never worked. Paul's wife rejoined the military to get money in that house, while Paul sat on his ass all day drinking fucking beer. So you see what I'm saying? But now he wants to make it that MRAs, what he did was he took the feminist narrative pre-second wave about how women are exploited by marriage, by the very institution. Well, see, that's actual history. That's actual historical fact. It's not the other way around. It never was the other way around. He's a deadbeat dad. Yes, Jenny. Oh, Phoenix Jenny? Jenny. Yes, Jenny. True. So he was a deadbeat dad, and he sat there, stole the feminist narrative on marriage, switched it around and said, no, it's the men who are exploited, post-feminism. Most feminists were trying to say, no, we don't really want women to feel that the only way they're going to have a life and make it out of their parents' house is through marriage. That's why we fought for women to get into the workforce more and to be able to get equal pay. That's what we did. Why the fuck would we encourage women to exploit men in a marriage? We're not looking to get money out of a fucking man. That's ridiculous. Hopefully, if a woman decides she wants to get married, she wants to get married for the reasons she wants to get married, Anyway, so my point here is that these motherfuckers know that they are broke. They know that they are full of shit. And then when they get online, they want to give you this whole big lie about how marriage is exploitative. Well, here's how I feel, Sandman. Motherfucker, you make your money off of marriages. I wonder if the day ever comes you get doxxed, right? And we find out the name of your business. I wonder how well you'll be doing when your name gets around to anyone who advertises marriage, photography online, that kind of thing. And people start to hear, oh, hey, this guy actually makes videos about how fucked up marriages are. And if they're fucked up, it's the woman's fault. And men are all exploited, yada, yada, yada. Like, don't take pictures at people's weddings, dude. Seriously, you dumbass. Finished Chastain says Elam equals male backwardism. Jenny says, my dad was a deadbeat and drunk too, and no child support. Yeah, my stepfather, well, I would complain about the child support issue in my situation when it comes to my stepfather. But the thing is that we would have rather starved than have him around. My mother, when she left him, that's how we wound up in Santa Fe, New Mexico. When she left him, he went out to go do something. And she had all this shit already planned. Of course, my sister and I, we had no clue. In the dark of night, she took us, we all got on a bus, a Greyhound from Kansas City, Missouri, and we went to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Can you believe that shit? Because my stepfather didn't contribute at all to the house. It wasn't just about his contribution. I mean, he was abusive and everything else. But this motherfucker didn't do anything for us. So, but my mother was like, I don't even give a fuck about child support or what little money this motherfucker throws into the house versus the more money that I've been making. I'm out of here. Done. Phoenix says your mom was very strong. Jenny says, yeah, that's crazy. Sorry, GA. Thank you. That's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just saying, I can't complain about child support because we didn't even have the financial support from this dude when he was in the house. See what I'm saying? So, sometimes it's a good thing, man, not to even have your father in your life if he ain't shit. But he wasn't my father anyway. He wasn't my biological father. He was my stepfather. Anyway, so the waddling penguin, I'm actually done with his story. So he's got another season coming up, right? Because he's going to be talking about, I guess we're going to be seeing what's going to happen to that marriage. The girl was on the brink of actually leaving him because he also has a drinking problem. So every time he gets drunk, he just acts a fool. I mean, I could just see this guy. I don't think that he might be prone to violence. He doesn't seem like a mean drunk. He's one of those reckless drunks. He's one of those dudes that says stupid things and does stupid things, but who knows how that fucking shit's gonna turn out. But somebody once said, like, look, the foreign bride, and I'm actually done with the show. No, I'm not. I got one more couple to talk about. But let me just say this real quick. People say, hey man, the foreign brides come out here, and when they see that you're not exactly what you said that you were, then they stay with you and then suddenly they leave you. You mean they leave you when they suddenly get an advantage, like maybe they've been going to school and maybe they've been putting their stuff through nursing school, and then when they realize that they can actually go and have a life of their own, they leave you? Well, let's think about that. First of all, you fucking lied about how much money you were making. You lied about a lot of things. You can't blame her for suddenly turning on you and doing her own thing. And even worse, and well, shouldn't say worse, what's better is that she had enough common sense to play it along until she could figure out what to do to get out of her situation. Hey, pure butterfly spirit, welcome back. Um, and that leads me to the last couple I want to talk about. There was another guy. Now, he wasn't, now this guy, in terms of whatever, he's like the classic silver fox. You know what a silver fox is, right? Sort of like the male version of a MILF. He's older man. He's like, actually, he's in his mid 50s. But what he did was he went I think this young lady is Vietnamese, if I'm not mistaken. Or Vietnamese or Filipino, I forgot. She too comes from a poor background. She too is extremely young. Uh, Now, his story, again, just like the other two guys, they hate American women because they're feminists. Well, I will have to say this. His story, his ex-wife left him, but she did leave him with his kids. Supposedly, that's his story. She left him and the kids, the ex-wife, the first wife. So he became so embittered by American women. It couldn't be that, hey man, she was just a bad one, right? Because it happens. Not all men are great, not all women are great. But the point here is that common sense tells you, man, just, well, first of all, I will give him, hey, if it's true, if his story is true, that he was a single dad for a long time and was taking care of his kids and raising his kids, hey, man, I'm going to give you a gold star. I'm not being sarcastic. I give you all the credit for doing that. Some dudes immediately will find a woman immediately just so he can have a wife and palm off the kids so he can do his thing. Like, no, he stuck it out, stayed single for a long time, and then now he married this younger woman. But here's the thing. First thing he tells this lady, I want a prenup. Well, okay. On paper, maybe that sounds reasonable. But the thing is that I think the producers were actually worried about this woman. So they actually did have it or scripted, if you will, to where they had the young lady go talk to a lawyer. And the lawyer basically looked at the prenup and he told her, don't do this. Don't sign this prenup. And the reason why he told her that was because the prenup was straight the fuck up, like fucked up. Basically, it said, if you do anything, go to school, go. If you do anything that displeases me, if we divorce, you not only get absolutely nothing. There's not only is there an absolute nothing, alimony, whatever. Even in the even in the event that we have children, you are out. You're out. You're out of the house. There's no house. There's no shared bank account. Even during the marriage, there's no shared bank account. I mean, he will be giving her an allowance. That's the stipulation of his prenup. And this dude was like, if this guy just decides out of nowhere, he's bored with you, he's tired of you. Maybe you didn't age the way he wanted you to, even though this dude is almost old as dirt himself. But he's like, you are in deep shit. You have no family here in the United States. You have no one to go to. You have no friends. Don't sign this prenup. All right. If anything, get these people on this show to pay you to go back to your country because this is some bullshit. So they left it off with that. I don't know if she decided to sign a prenup or not. Oh, you know what? The more I think about it, I think she did sign it. It's fucked up. But here's what I'm talking about, man. How can you complain about hypergamy when you dudes are doing this shit and you're doing this kind of shit again? You are focusing in, you targeting women who have a disadvantage, who have who are desperate, and you know that you have them at that disadvantage. So sorry. If you get got by any of these women at some point, I'm not going to cry for you because the premise of you fucking with these women in the first place is you want something. You want these women for basically an exchange, and you know you're offering in that. So the way I see it, if that's the case, if you get got because they figured it out before you did, or they're able to get an equal footing or move on, you deserve it, and that's the end of the story on that. Now let me look up what's in the chat. Phoenix, once again, letting us know that as the Jedi Master, she cannot take a marriage oath, and I'm not so sad about that. Jenny says, "Holy shit!" Curious said, "Damn." I guess we're still talking about Paul Elam. Yeah, I was talking about Elam. Let's see here. GA is not to be messed with. Jenny's clapping. Curious says, "Oh my God, I did not even think about that. He could be bringing the energy. He could be bringing that energy to the weddings." Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty sure Sandman is the black hole of a party. I mean, I'm seriously. I don't even think Sandman has friends. I think that motherfucker comes to weddings and parties and stuff, and people are suddenly like, "Oh, what's that chill that suddenly came into the room?" And then other people are sitting there evaluating whether they should live. Like I can guarantee you, man, Sandman is not a fun person to be around. Yeah. Curious said, "We left the state without my stepdad knowing too." Yep. See, that's why me and Curious is buddies because we have a lot of similarities. Uh, exactly. Sometimes it's better without them around. Curious says, "Same. My dad and my stepdad." Jenny says, "Curious. Moms are awesome. Moms are awesome that could leave their dads." Jenny says, "Mine did too." Phoenix says, "Unless your mom was an abusive bitch." Jenny says, "Yeah, it's true, and yes, there are moms that are abusive. That's very true. Ain't nobody trying to say not. No one's ever said that." Um, but according to the MRAs, they think that when people defend women or defend feminism, they automatically think that those people think that all women are saints. That's not what people think. Curious says, "My stepdad went through the fridge." My stepdad went through the fridge, is what the landlord told my mom. He did not even live with us. Oh, got it. Yeah, he only came to go through the fridge, right? Curious, but my mom donated the food. And Jenny Kiss says, "Sorry, Phoenix." Yeah, I'm sorry about that too, Phoenix. I'm sorry about the situation with your mother. Jenny says, he would break in and steal your food. Curious says, "Haha, you called him a MILF." Yeah. Uh, oh, okay. Oh, Phoenix left. Okay. Good night. I have to just thank you, Phoenix, for showing up. Thank you. And thank all of y'all. So let's see here. Pure Butterfly Spirit says, "I think Sandman is just playing the lonely MGTOW. He makes lots of money off of them." He sure does. That's a good point. Curious says, "Women are born to breed and raise children according to them. The obvious solution is for them to take care of the kids and save them from us." Right. All right, y'all, man. So that's pretty much all I had. I was hoping Danini, she showed up, and I'm glad she did, and I hope she comes back again. Can't wait to hear her input about tonight's show. Um, may have sounded like my videos, of course, are completely different, Danini, than my live cast, but it is what it is. But I hope you do come back again. I had asked Danini. Uh, she's one of the people that I said I wanted to talk to and try to get to know better rather than immediately going into warring camps because we disagree with a particular other YouTuber, and that YouTuber, of course, being Sansa Ray Smith. And the only support that I give Sansa Ray is the fact that I know the double standard, witch burning nonsense that goes on in social media and the dogpiling that goes on. And that's basically my level of support for her. And it's basically that's it. So Danini, I was hoping would come in and say, "Hey, one of the ringleaders who hates Sansaray says a lot of things about you, Garage, and these are the things that he says, and I would like for you to clear some of these things up." But again, hopefully Danini will return and we can have that kind of conversation or possibly a one-on-one. After all, I did throw the link in the chat room earlier. Curious says, "I'm not sub to her, but I know of her. She is the anti-child support YouTuber, right?" I do think that Sansa Ray spoke out against child support, which I think is obviously that's something I disagree with on her on. And yeah, again, I disagree on a lot of things with Sansa Ray, but again, I'm not one of her there's different kinds of supporters out there, man. There are people who really, 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 really loved Sansa Ray. um, I came across one of a former fan of hers, and I didn't get a chance to reply to her comment to me that was on Pure Butterfly Spirits video, but I will get around to that possibly tomorrow. I was hoping because I was hoping to invite her on before I came on tonight. But you have that kind of supporter, and of course, those are the people who are going to wind up becoming the worst enemy later when they soon discover that this person doesn't listen to them or doesn't agree with them or starts blocking them and stuff like that. I mean, I know people like that. And again, I know her for how she is. And I don't agree with the whole child support thing on her position. It's crazy, but it is what it is. Jenny says, such a good stream. Good tonight. GA, love you. Night, night. Okay, yes. Good night, Jenny. Thank you for coming by. Definitely. Bye. I'll see you next time. Bye bye, Jenny. All right, so it is now 12:17. I have decided to go later because I decided to go ahead and talk about the hypergamy thing anyway. And hey, I picked up a couple of more viewers for that, and Curious was able to come in. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it myself. So I'm going to thank you all for showing up. I was able to talk about the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Again, I'm going to emphasize this again, just say it one more time. Danini, please, whenever you want to come back, talk and participate, you are more than welcome. And definitely to all my regulars, Phoenix and Curious and Jenny, Pure Butterfly Spirit, peace. But I want to thank everybody for coming, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And I will see you all next week. Don't know when I'm going to talk about it in the live stream, but I will announce it because I know that that's how I get people to want to come and see me when I make announcements, right? And I've got that video coming up. The video will be titled The Rest of the United States. And again, talking about the post-Trump election and the parts of the Rust Belt that we were able to visit during our little road trip vacation last week. Thank you so much, Curious, for coming. All right, y'all. Peace.